if you look at your body, just like you would, say you had a sports car. Well, is your sports car going to run better on, high octane gasoline, or if you put water in half the tank,
Right.
it's going to affect your performance.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Talk About It podcast. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
And today we're going to put together another fun episode. We're sitting down with Dan Byers. Dan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for jumping in. Pleasure to meet you. And I'm looking forward to talking for the next hour or so about whatever the heck you got going.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah. Why don't you open up? Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Dan Byers?
Okay. I've grown up around Roseville my entire life. Basically lived here my entire life, other than 4 years at the University of Illinois. I'm married to my wife, Melissa. We've got 3 little girls, and I farm with my dad, as well as have a custom silage harvesting business with him. And then in the last few years, my wife and I have started kind of an off venture of our farm with our 6-pack meats, where we're selling beef, direct to the consumer and shipping it all over the U.S.
Nice. From your own farm?
Yes.
You guys have your own cattle farm?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. So that's exciting, taking kind of your own product and putting it out there, right?
Yeah. Essentially, I guess for lack of a better term, cutting out the middleman and shipping it, directly to your door, no matter. It gives access to people from coast to coast that want the farm direct meat experience that maybe you're not going to get in the concrete of Los Angeles or,
sure,
along the coastline, that they can get the same experience that maybe we sometimes maybe take for granted with what we have here.
Right. Yeah. Growing up in the Midwest, for sure. So do you guys, I guess, jump right into this, but how do you guys sell it? Is it by you can get certain cuts, or you're getting a quarter cow, or, how are you guys, how's your setup?
The way we do it, we do like quarters and halves with people. Most of that is on a local level type deal, but although we have shipped them. But on our 6packmeats.com website, we have prepackaged boxes, and you just click and order, and it tells you right there what's in each particular box. For example, our Mr. Olympia premium steak box, it would have 2 packages of ribeyes, 2 packages of New York strips, 2 packages of fillets, and then either a T-bone or a porterhouse in there. Another box would have all ground beef, and then we've got some that are kind of a mixed match as well. In addition to that, we'll do custom orders. If there's certain things that you want, we make the person contact us so that we can see how much we can fit in a box and then price it accordingly to them. So, we don't want somebody coming in and say, well, I'd like this, and this. Well, it's going to take, 2 boxes to get it to you,
right.
And you can't do that for the price.
Right.
Of one type.
Or 8 boxes.
Right.
Yeah. So I can only, I went and picked up my family in the Pontiac area has a cattle operation. I had gotten some quarter cow Angus from them, and it was like, putting a good little weight down on the trunk of my vehicle, let alone trying to package into a box and send out to Cali.
Exactly.
So so what made that whole idea? How in the world did you? I get it. You have all these cattle, and you guys are enjoying the beef. But at what point, who says let's come up with a business and just start shipping it?
Somewhat, kind of a gradual effect. We've been doing like the quarters and halves for people for several years. And then as in the last few years, whether it's from COVID or just the consumer being more, in tune with where their food's coming from, that kind of what spawned it. We kind of had some mentors in this that was already doing it to kind of help, learn and guide from. And there's other, farmers throughout the U.S. doing the same thing. I mean, I'd be the first to say we're by no stretch reinventing the wheel. I mean, we've just, taken that concept and honestly, a few years ago, we kind of developed a wait list on people wanting the quarters and halves, and that's kind of what spawned us to be like, why not, one, try and reach a broader audience, on not only geography wise, but a lot of people don't have the space to handle that much volume at once, or financially, can't invest that kind of money all at one time. And so that's kind of what spurred us to offer kind of a different model of what we were doing on hopefully a larger scale.
What are the benefits for those people that are buying your steaks? What's the benefits compared to the steak that people get in the normal grocery stores?
One, we can vouch for how the animal was treated and cared for. You're going to know exactly where it came from. You're going to know the people that cared for it, packed it, shipped it, wrote the thank you note in the box, every part of the process. I do think there's something to be said for the hang time and the aging process that you can get through a local locker versus, buying on a mass, grocery store and in the processing plants that they go through. I don't think that, they maybe have as much of an opportunity, to capture some of that. And that aging is what helps bring out the flavor, of the meat.
Yep. That's awesome, man. How long have you guys been in business?
We started 6-pack meats in spring of 2020.
Yeah.
But like
Perfect time.
Yeah.
Right at COVID.
Well,
it actually probably was a blessing in disguise.
I'd be the first to say that time period is kind of what spurred us to do it. Is we had the wait list, and there again, people seemed to be more content to click, on the computer at home and order and have it shipped right to the door versus, venturing out. And, that's kind of what brought it on for us.
I've noticed a big shift in consumers just being overall more savvy, not just price shopping, but also, looking for a good quality product that they can trust. Through marketing and everything, there's all these different options. I mean, you used to go to the grocery store, there might be 1 or 2 of these types of things. Well, now there's 7 or 8 or 10, and then you're overwhelmed. And then heck, you don't even know what you're doing, just kind of grabbing stuff or what.
Right.
So I think there is something to be said about, hey, these are the same people that, like I'm sure you're eating all this beef, right?
Yeah,
like you guys
are
eating
right now.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're eating it and our family eats it and we raise it. You can trust it. So just having that whole unknown of, where did it come from at all anyway. So that's a good.
Yeah. Yeah. We try and be accommodating to people and treat it like a family run business. You contact us, you're not going to have to wait, whatever time period to make sure it doesn't get lost in the corporate email, type deal. I mean, it's one of us responding to you with any questions you might have. And if there's an issue or something, we're going to make it right. Cause I've always said that, your reputation, your name,
everything,
is everything. And you got to stand behind it. Even in cases where there's been a time or two, there was a shipping issue through UPS. Wasn't our fault, but it wasn't our customer's fault either. And so, I mean, I guess we stood behind it and, took care of it. So.
How does the shipping works? What happens if they deliver the box and nobody's at home? Do they just leave the box outside? All the steaks come frozen, I believe. So how does that work? And the liability on that. Let's say someone in another state ordered, the box got left outside, and then
every time we ship, we send an email notification to the customer, and it has the tracking info. So that, they can watch it. But just for example, I had shipped a group of boxes out on Monday, and the one individual, she wasn't going to get home till last night, and it was going to be out all day. Well, when we ship those boxes, we're putting as much dry ice in there as we can. So it's not like the minute you get there, you've got to get unpacked and get to the freezer. There's a grace period there. Now, that being said, I highly would not suggest, having a box delivered on Thursday and then getting around to Monday morning, unpacking it, because you're going to have a mess on your hands.
Yeah, that's 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Someone's going to steal that box.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Well,
these porch pirates are no joke right now.
Well, a case in point, when we first got started, one of my high school classmates lives down in Arkansas, and her mom ordered a box and had it shipped down to him. And she hadn't heard anything from him, and I hadn't heard anything from him as far as it getting delivered. And it got delivered on I want to say that Thursday. And her mom messaged me and was like, "Do you hear anything on that box?" And I said, "Well, do they even know it's coming?" And she's like, "No, they don't." Well, so then she checked with her daughter, and they just so happened to be out of town that weekend. So it didn't get unpacked till like that Saturday afternoon. And it was still, everything was froze, everything was fine. So, I guess that gave me a little bit of confidence that, not that you want to push the envelope, but, we try and, really pack them to where, it's going to stay frozen. Shipping to like California is a different issue with the climate, but for example, here, when we start to really get, cold weather, then it's not going to be a problem at all. And you honestly could probably, if I was shipping from here to within state, I almost probably could do it without dry ice, but I'm not gonna.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, not risk that.
And is it just regular shipping? How does that work when you ship frozen stuff? Is it just UPS, normal shipping?
UPS usually second day ground.
Okay.
Because everything frozen is actually within the box. You're not going to know it's in there.
The box is normal.
Yeah, it has. You have like a big insulated unit inside, right?
Exactly.
I've had some something similar.
Right.
Brought this a couple of years ago. Someone for the holiday.
Yep.
Be a great time for gifts, but yeah, someone had one of those sent to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? A real unique cooler that gets put into that box.
Yeah. There's not. There's more elaborate things you could get, but just a standard corrugated box with a styrofoam cooler inside, and it works great.
And Dan, you being a bodybuilder, how does your steak helps you? Like, is it like, does the quality of the steak, of the protein you eat, does it impact a lot more like positively your body, and how does that work?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we like I said, I know, our meat's going to be hormone free, and we care for the animals as needed. And we're not looking to pump medicine just to do it. I mean, we try and, if it's animals in distress, you take care of them, but we're not trying to be overzealous about it. And and I think that makes a difference in the quality of product that we're producing. And if you look at your body, just like you would, say you have a sports car. Well, is your sports car going to run better on, high octane gasoline, or if you put water in half the tank,
right?
It's going to affect your performance.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have customers that are bodybuilders too?
Yeah. We some of the shows that I compete in, we're also sponsors of.
Oh.
And so I've met a lot of, fellow athletes and other people within kind of that arena. And so, yeah,
it's a good idea. Yeah. Get your logo up there at the contest too.
Yeah.
Good thinking. What's your favorite, not even necessarily like 6-pack meats, but when it comes to getting a steak, there's filet guys, there's ribeye guys, there's New York strips, porterhouse. What's your like go-to, like your favorite cut? And then also, what do you do with it? How do you like to eat it?
I don't do much with it in terms of preparation. I like it medium. But ribeye, I think, is without question probably my favorite cut.
Okay.
Up until now, well, I take that back. Up until now, I really hadn't eaten much filet. Part of it is if I go out to eat, no bigger the filet is.
I know.
Like that's my deal.
It's 6 ounce.
$40.
Yeah.
So I guess I've always gravitated towards a ribeye, but being I've got my own supply, with my current meal plan that my coaches had me on, I've been eating 6 ounces of steak every single night since about mid-July, and so I've had a lot of filet, and it's a phenomenal cut. I'm not dragging it down whatsoever. It just comes down to a volume thing for me.
Yeah, and that's probably why I love a New York strip. That's my go-to. But yeah, I think too, because there's just so much more. The filet tastes amazing.
But and if I'm at home and I eat 2 fillets, fine. I'm the one that produced it. But you go out to eat it, whatever they're going to charge you, you know.
You're at about $36-$40,
You know,
and
$40
decent, if
and
not
then
more.
small. Yeah.
You
You know, I
might
don't-
get an 8-ounce, right? You can see sometimes they'll have like an 8 or even a 12-ounce fillet, depending if you're at a nicer restaurant,
Right.
But even that, if you're getting a 12-ounce fillet, I mean, you're paying a pretty penny for that.
You're paying it with a home
Yeah.
equity loan, I think.
Right. But what? So yeah, you don't do much to it as far as cooking. You just want it medium cooked, and then what? Your ideal? You throw a side, a potato. What are you doing with it? You get to just pick a good meal. What's your go-to?
I probably got a boring answer, and I'm sure not typical, but I'm pretty content with like a cup of broccoli, and then 6 or 8 ounces of sweet potato or yam with it. It would.
I can tell you measure your food, man.
Oh yeah.
See, that's what I'm like. 8 ounce. I'm gonna get 2 more scoops. I have gotten better at the cutoff switch, where I used to overeat to the point where like now there's the next 45 minutes where I'm miserable.
Right.
I have got to cut that out. Especially you go out to eat anywhere in America, the meal is enough for 2 people.
Yeah,
really.
that's
Right.
true.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So I've gotten to where I don't, try to finish the whole meal. It happens every now and then, but I just hate that miserable feeling afterwards when you're like the Thanksgiving, coma,
I've been that way for, with what I do, it comes in cycles. I mean, my last show last year was in July 8th. And so we've been bulking on purpose, since then, trying to get bigger. And so my diet's been 3,500 calories a day. And you just get to where you're not hungry. It's time to get the next one in and have that feeling all the time, I guess.
So it's not, you don't even care too much about taste at that point. You're just I just need to feel it.
Yeah.
I got to get to 3,500. I
Yeah,
don't care how
yeah.
good it tastes or what.
Well, it's the same thing. For me, it's the same thing day after day. So, you just look at it as a process versus.
He doesn't even need to put seasoning on his steak. No
Yeah.
salt, no anything. He just throw on the grill, right?
Yeah.
And it tastes good.
Well, if it's a good enough, cut of beef,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. You mentioned your meal plan. Tell us how your meal plan looks like: morning, afternoon, at night, every day. Well, now at the bulking stage.
Yeah. My current meal plan. Excuse me. When I get up in the morning, my breakfast is 3 whole eggs, 7 egg whites, a cup of oats, a tablespoon of chopped walnuts, and a banana. And so I eat that, then I train, and then my post-workout shake is 2 scoops of protein, 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter.
On that, sorry to interrupt you, but how much protein do we have by that point of the day?
Well, there's 50 grams in the protein shake. So there's, we're probably 70, 80 grams,
Okay.
about
You
that
count
point.
the eggs and the egg whites and
Yeah.
everything
No,
else,
he needs to count all the proteins per day.
Yeah.
Protein is the most important part. Yeah.
Yeah. So I eat that. And then for lunch, it's been 6 ounces of chicken, cup of broccoli, and a cup and a half of white rice. And then about mid-afternoon, I'll eat 9 ounces of ground beef, a cup and a half of white rice, and a cup of broccoli. And then for dinner is 6 ounces of steak, a cup of broccoli, and a small red potato. And then I finish off with 1 scoop of protein.
A small red potato.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just I'd be looking at the pan over there like I need like 9 more. Of these,
By that time of the day, you just want to get the food
right,
in.
I'm sure. Red potato. I love it.
That's crazy because that gets to 3,500 calories per
So
day.
how many grams of protein are you looking to get within that?
I think I'd have to look at my sheet, but that's somewhere around 320, if I remember right.
I was going to say it's got to be quite a bit.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
between the beef
Yeah.
twice,
Yeah,
beef
yeah.
twice,
Oh, yeah.
chicken, and then multiple eggs.
Yeah, plus the protein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does it look when you're cutting? Like when you before the competition.
Hold on, before we go to that, because I want to know you. And I love broccoli. That's usually what I cook at home. Is there a reason you're saying broccoli and not other vegetables? Or you just like broccoli too?
Broccoli has a lot of protein, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
I don't mind. I mean, my meal plan gets written for me by my coach.
Sure.
And there's always been a lot of broccoli in it. In the past, when we're starting to cut for a show, he might have asparagus in there.
Which I can get down with that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with that too. So.
Okay.
You know,
I just
either way.
wonder because I do broccoli all the time. My kids love it. I eat it, so it's just like my go-to. But when you mention it like for multiple meals, I said, you know.
Yeah. Well, because it's funny because if I go to the store and you know I buy it frozen. You know, I'll buy it in a massive volume when I do it and. You know, it's always the same joke from somebody. Well, you know, you must have a big family to feed. No, actually, that's for me.
Right.
You know?
This for Monday and Tuesday. That's funny. So no, and I always get the fresh, like the floret. I cut them up. I put them on a baking sheet with olive oil and throw it in the oven for like 20 minutes. It comes out piece of cake.
Right.
And can do like big bulks of it to where I can eat it for a couple days. But I've noticed broccoli too. Probably the last at least 6 months, it is like shifted on the size that you can buy, and like they're almost like now you're getting way more stem with it in the package. Have you noticed any of that?
I noticed more stem. It's
I don't know who we need to talk to about this.
I'm not going to name brands, but there's one brand I switched away from because every time I had it on my plate, I was picking out stems. You know, and I'm like.
And you're buying it. Well, even the fresh stuff, you're buying it by the pound.
Right.
And you're giving me 8 pounds of stem, and just these little florets at the end. Like you're not even going to touch this big. All right, I get on a tangent sometimes.
Do you know what's your basal metabolism? Like how much you spend, how many calories you spend per day without doing anything if you just sit around?
I don't know that I ever really tracked that. I just. Our biggest, I send a weekly video to my coach as a check-in with, my weight. And then, I do all the quarter turns and mandatory poses and bodybuilding. And we judge whatever the given goal is at the time on how I look, doing that. And we've always, just kind of adjusted things week to week, based upon that. So.
Okay. And when you're cutting, needing to lose fat, be as how do you say, as cut as possible before the competition. How does your diet
lean.
looks like?
Yeah, to my lean. How do you get back lean?
For one, the protein shakes will get taken out.
Oh.
And I don't know. It's my own personal saying. I've always kind of used the analogy. If you want to be solid, you got to eat solid. And so. That gets taken out. Carbs in general get tapered down, and like the white rice will get switched out for sweet potato or yam. Just in general, calories are will come down in general. One other change would be is my breakfast will switch from instead of having the 3 whole eggs and the 7 egg whites. At some point, you'll switch it to where it'll be 12 egg whites in the morning, and then at night. Instead of that protein shake, another 12 egg whites at night. So once I'm in prep, I'll
scramble it. Yeah.
So
can you drink egg whites?
I mean, you can buy egg whites in the.
Yeah, I mean, I know people have done it. I can't say that you're going to find me in that.
Yeah, that'd be just a bit odd. But to each your own.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like Rocky or any of the old movies? They used to put eggs. You put 3 eggs in there and
but
just
have you seen the bottle of egg whites? Like you can buy a bottle.
Yeah. I just didn't know if you could just start drinking it from the carton. I didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I know people have done it, but you're not going to find me in that. I'll take the time and prepare them.
Isn't it crazy with eggs too? You can if you made me 6 fried eggs. I'm going to struggle to eat them. I can do 6 scrambled eggs, and it's shrunk to nothing, and you just pound them like nothing.
Everybody thinks it's nuts when I'm eating 2 dozen a day, but there's a big difference between eating egg whites like I am, and if you're eating 24 whole eggs, that would be
cholesterol.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Usually we get our eggs from our neighbors right around the corner, farm fresh eggs. But if for some reason they can't keep up, because at the peak I'm going through 14 dozen a week by myself.
Right.
You're eating all their eggs.
So
Chicken farm is just for them.
yeah.
It's
So
just for the Byers.
so if I go to the store and I get 16 or 18 dozen eggs, it's always, what? Are you getting this for a restaurant? I'm like, no, that's for me. That's for the week.
That's awesome. So on your bodybuilding competitions, you get the entire spray tan?
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to get, what did we had, I think Jane Jacobson, we had her. She also has done competitions.
Okay.
I remember asking her, this is way back, but I can't remember what the real answer was. But everyone gets all this
the spray
gold.
tan.
Yeah,
just goldened out.
Yeah,
and then your face is white and
they'll spray. They won't coat it as heavy.
right.
And like in my case where I shave my head, they'll spray the top
They'll
of my head
get you
too.
up top too.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, at every show, some people will do it themselves, but I will pay to have it done at the show.
Yeah.
Just because if there's any touch-ups that need to be done, they'll handle it.
It's on them. Yeah.
But so yeah, you always get there to check in the day before the show, and usually you get your first 2 coats of spray tan that night, and then a lot of times we'll get a third one again, that morning.
How long does it take to come off? It's not just one quick shower.
No, I've gotten to where when we travel to a show, I take my own set of black bed sheets, so I don't get dinged with
The hotel.
Yeah, hotel
They come in
fee.
and go, what the heck happened?
I do this. I do the same with a wash towel, and I take my own wash towel and towel just so when I can finally because I can't shower till after the show.
Right.
And then it's it's just a massive puddle of brown, and shower when you're done, and over the course of the next few days it still comes off some, but that initial shower is what gets a bulk of it.
And what is the spray tan for? Is it because it marks more?
It just brings out your lines and your definition more, more vascularity. It's
Okay.
I should start doing it just for fun. You can't see a single one of my definitions.
How does the backstage looks like before the contest?
Oh
do you
yeah,
see-
what's that environment like?
Yeah.
you see a little bit of everything. I mean, anywhere from how much fluid people are drinking to what types of foods that they're eating. I mean, there's different approaches. There's different ways to get there. But it's like anything else. You're gonna get some people maybe you don't see eye to eye with, but I will say I've met some of the most genuine, nice people. Like some of the, some guys that you think are the biggest meathead that just look like your typical gym bro, so to speak, and truly some of the nicest, most humble people you ever meet. That met, and that's honestly that's one of the best things about doing it backstage is I think to a large degree, there's different levels of physique, but the one thing about it, it's still a process, and I think there's everyone has an appreciation for the grind and the discipline, and what it takes to get yourself to that point to where you can even think about, wanting to go on stage.
Right. No, it's got to take some courage, for sure. And there's always going to be you're out, behind the curtain. You start looking at other people that you probably think are bigger, or better, or badder. Like, oh my God, what am I doing here?
Yeah, this will be my 6th year competing, and my first show that I did, it was a very small regional show, which is perfect for a first show. The thing is, the very first time I ever stepped out on stage in front of a crowd, I was the only one in my class. And, and so I did some other classes that show and, had other people out there. But that very first time I ever took the stage, I was by myself and, not having done it. Now that wouldn't bother me. But then, I mean, the first time doing it was a little bit nerve-wracking.
What was your inspiration on even getting into bodybuilding? Was there someone that did it, or you just?
It's just one of those things that I I had, been working out since I want to say 2009, religiously. And then I kind of got to the point where I don't know, I just kept coming back to I wanted to get myself and take a goal like that, it's a massive goal, and to get myself in the best shape of my life. And then so I just shared it with my wife initially that, I kind of kept it close to the vest. And then I finally said something to my coach, and that's when we went down that path of wanting to do it. And once I did it, I was hooked.
Right.
What I'm doing now, where I'm purposely putting on weight this time of year, I wouldn't have had the mental, I don't know if you call it fortitude, or it would have really messed me up to actively put on weight now, that I am now, versus say 10 years ago. That would have really messed with my head. But,
right.
It's allowed me to basically get to where I can just flip a switch, and depending on the goal, we just plan accordingly, and that's what we do to, execute it, I guess.
How much does it impact your mental health when you're preparing for a show, for a competition?
I'll say it with some people, it probably, I think it can really mess with a person. I don't know that on a personal level, I don't know that it bothers me too much, because I like that discipline. I like that process. And I've always said I would rather, if I had to choose between, having to sacrifice and cut down and peel down for a show, I honestly would rather do that than what I'm doing now, where I'm, shoving food in my face, and,
right.
Putting it away. It's just my personal preference. And I'm very much it doesn't matter what's this or, oh no, the dishwasher at home. I'm a creature of routine, and, I like that structure. And so I don't know that it really gets to me, too much,
Okay.
Yeah. But I feel like it's transferred over, whether it's in business or other things, to, kind of that discipline and drive to, with other aspects of your life as well.
Okay. Yeah. The day of the competition, you wake up, how does that day look like? Water intake, what do you eat right before you get on the stage? Like, how does that work?
The day before the show, we cut water at 4 p.m. And then the only thing you get from there on out is tiny sips, if you're really parched. But, other than that, it's cut. And so you just wake up, kind of have, typical first meal, a cup of oats and, egg whites or whatever. And then, I always travel with, in the morning of the show, not that it's necessary, but it's just what I do is instead of making actual oatmeal, I'll just eat the oats dry, like I'm a horse, which my wife just rolls her eyes at. But
it sounds terrible. Like you'll be like sticking to your.
Yeah, it's not bad, but and then going to the show, I'll send an update to my coach if we feel like we need some more carbs or something. I'll have some oats with me to get those in, and then you do the morning show, which is where pretty much all the judging takes place, and then there's a break, and so then you usually go back to your hotel room and just eat another meal, and then you come back for the night show, which is where everyone does their posing routines, and they go ahead and give you your placings, and then the class winners compete for the overall in each division. So the morning show, other than judging the overalls, is pretty much where all the judging takes place, and you want to be ready for that. So
okay, what are the different divisions that there are?
In the men's, there's bodybuilding, which is what most everybody thinks of. There's classic physique, which is kind of the main division I do, which is similar to bodybuilding, but a few less mandatory poses and different posing trunks. And then there's men's physique, which is, they wear board shorts and the posing's different. And I think with the women's, there's bikini, there's wellness, women's physique, and women's figure. So there's seven total divisions.
Okay. When you mentioned that you stopped drinking water the day before, why is that?
You're trying to deplete down. You don't want to be
bloating.
You want you want to bring all the lines
Yeah.
out.
I think of like you ever seen the Naked and Afraid or any of those people, you go survive for 20 something days. And if you watch their like body transformation, especially, they start looking dehydrated or low on water. It all starts to show way more.
Yeah.
And then I've also recently, I was going to ask you about this, like, great time, but I've seen some of these fast, like 36, 72 hour fasts where people are having like no water. Have you seen those? And then like if you do try that, get a doctor, whatever, that's a disclaimer there.
No water and no food?
But, they just really just deprive their body for a very short period of time. And you see like some pretty drastic differences on people, and is that something we should go doing all the time? No, probably not. But that makes sense where, right before a show, I'm sure, you're wanting to get your body and all your muscle and everything's going to be there ready to go. You deprive it of some of the hydration more.
Right.
It's going to probably make some quick changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's where most anybody that I compete with or does it, high percentage, everyone's got a coach. And that's, as somebody that's, should have been there and have done it before. And, you send them videos or photos and they can give you honest feedback and, see, what changes to make. Cause there's definitely, you want to come in with all the lines you can get, but you don't want to come in just all deflated,
Right.
As well. I mean, it's kind of a balancing act, and that's where it's nice having somebody there or send stuff to say, you need to do this, to come in looking more like this. So.
Mm-hmm. So how many times are you working out a day or a week, or what's the actual like workout process like?
Right now, we've purposely done no cardio since July, trying to put on size. And so that I train 5 days a week, a body part split with, 2 days as rest days or whatever. Workouts will last anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. And then once we start prep, which will be, I'm assuming sometime here in January, that part won't change, but then we'll move in and add in, fasted cardio. And that'll probably start out at 5 days a week of fasted cardio, X amount of time, and then eventually move to 7 days a week, cardio, and then ramp the amount of time that we're doing cardio up. At the peak, I'd say be doing 60 minutes of cardio, and then, an hour of, say, a weight training. But, for me, the way I do it is I've got all that done before I leave the house in the morning, and I'm out the door before 7. Mm-hmm. So, I don't have to worry about, raising a family, trying to get back and do this or do that. I want it done so it's not affecting the rest of my day. Plus,
right.
You talked earlier about your mental health. I mean, it just, from a mental standpoint, I'm much more at ease if I know it's done. I've gotten it in. And so that's why, I get up early to make sure all that's taken care of before the day's events get in the way.
Yeah. I think the power of that discipline, I've noticed, we've talked to just getting up in the morning and work out, the rest of the day just seems to go so smoothly. I feel much more positive. You feel accomplished, like you've kind of already done some stuff. So there's some power in that for sure. I'm curious, what is at the end of the bulking season, and like now we're ready to go and prepare for the day of the competition. What's the difference in weight when you got your bulks done and now we're about ready to start shredding and get down to show up?
In classic physique, you've got to be a certain weight or less by your height in order to compete in it.
So weight or less by your height.
So in other words, I'm 5'10", so there's a weight cap for me that's different than somebody that's 5'9", or 5'11".
Okay.
And so at my height in the past, it was 197. This year they've actually bumped it 5 pounds, so this year it only have to be 202 or less. But anyway, at my last show on July 7th, I weighed in at 197, And right now I'm about 240 pounds. So,
Yeah.
So if you get to the when they weight yourself and like let's say you 2 pounds above the limit, what are the usual ways that people backstage do to lose those 2 pounds quick? Or 1 pound?
Luckily, I've never had to deal with it yet. I've always made weight. And that's, I guess I've never had to cross that bridge, and so I've never gone down the road. I mean, the first thing I would probably say is get if you can sweat it out, or you're just trying. It doesn't matter whether it's water. You're trying to get it off.
Hit the sauna. Yeah.
But the problem is sometimes in a lot of shows when you go to check in and weigh in, you've already got your spray tan done, and so that throws a wrinkle in that you can't. I mean, if you go into a sauna after getting a spray tan, you might as well start over.
Well, right.
Yeah. So,
but it doesn't matter if you're not making weight. That your spray tan don't matter.
Right,
Anyway,
well,
so
in my case, what I would probably do if it was just impossible, I competed in classic physique, but I've also competed in the bodybuilding division. And with the bodybuilding division, there's no restrictions on weight. I mean, you're classified by weight, but I'm 5'10". I can compete in bodybuilding whether I'm 220 pounds or 195, and it's the same.
Gotcha.
And so, in my case, I always travel with a pair of, bodybuilding posing trunks with me. And so if it was ever an issue, then I'd just cross over and compete that division rather than,
okay,
type deal. So
nice. What's the end game for you on bodybuilding? You think someday maybe you'll be a coach?
Oh, yeah. I've helped people here and there. I don't know if I guess I'd never say never, but I've helped some people along the way and some younger kids. And I honestly, like, for example, there's a mom brought her teenage boy by to, his coaches need to put on weight. And so I kind of walked through, some lifting technique and stuff like that, but kind of outlined somewhat of a diet for him. And, since August, he's put on about 12 pounds himself, which for a kid to have, to take in that kind of structure, I is honestly better than what I expected. What I mean? So, I've had a few cases like that. Other than that, I'm content as long as my health is there to, keep competing. I guess I can always I'm 45 now, and I kind of joke that I'd like to be the 50-year-old taking the stage, competing. So, it's something for my little girls to watch me do. And I guess for my youngest is 8 months old. So in order for her to remember what I did, I'm going to have to keep at it for a while yet.
Right. Yeah, I know the gal we had on before, Jane Jacob, her father had done some competitions, and it was just something very important to her. At one point she'd set a goal and did that as well. So yeah, you never know. You may, trigger one of them to, you say you only have one, or how many children did
I got 3 little girls.
3, yeah. So, I mean, if one of them happens to go and say, shoot, let's try it. You'll want to coach then, right?
Yeah, well.
You'll definitely, I would assume.
Hopefully they're making their own money by then because, for what it costs to compete in the sport, it's worse for the female athletes.
Well, just in eggs. I mean, just the cost of eggs and fillets, you're going to be going broke. So, but no, as long as you guys have 6-pack meats, you should have a good supply there.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Dan, man, I appreciate you coming and joining us on the Talk About It podcast and sharing the 6-pack meats. Speaking of that, for you guys at home listening, this right here is an idea of what your box will show up, 6-pack meats. And where can they look that up, or how can they put in an order?
You can go to 6packmeats.com, and all our boxes are listed there. If you got any questions, my phone number is listed there. Email, we're also, got our Facebook page, 6-Pack Meats. So anything you can find, you can find on the website, and it'll steer you in the right direction. We try and make the ordering in part of it as streamlined as we can. You click on the box, You order it. There's no other drop box for shipping. It's all included. It's all that price that you click on there is what you're going to pay. And then, as long as orders are in by Sunday night, we ship every Monday. We do it on Mondays on purpose to make sure delivery gets to wherever it's going during the week.
Yeah.
And so if it comes in Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning, it'll ship the following, Monday. But as long as anything's in by Sunday, it gets that to you right away, and we get it headed your way.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Dan. Hopefully you enjoyed your time.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Dan Byers here with Six Pack Meats. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
And it's the Talk About It podcast. Hit subscribe, and we appreciate your support. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Talk About It podcast.
I'm Victor Dantas.
I'm Lauren Fulmer.
And we would encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell. It's going to be right below the video. So you
hit the bell.
So you know when the next episode is up.
We appreciate all the support.
Thank you.